Hello, everyone, and welcome to Designing Characters, where I explain turning characters from my mind and other media into characters for Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition. Here, we focus on builds and personality traits, utilizing standard array or point buy with D&D Beyond's layout. Let me know what character build or video you'd like to see next in the comments below. I read them all and reply to as many as I can. Today, we're making Kenpachi Zaraki, the fight-loving, hot-headed, simple-minded badass of Bleach and captain of the 11th Squad, with ridiculous durability, stamina, and raw power both spiritually and physically. He also dabbles in a bit of construction work as a hobby. So, what do we need for our hacky-slashy boy? First, you are literally taking direct hits and suffer no notable physical damage to your skin, so we need great AC and even better hit points. Next, you need physical power that goes beyond even your own durability, dishing out damage when you take off the eye patch strong enough to level landscapes. And finally, you need an aura of glowing light that you summon at will to amplify your destructive power and abilities even further than normal. Using the point buy system, put your strength to 14, dexterity to 14, and constitution to 15. You are an absolute physical powerhouse that has terrified other trained warriors using nothing but sheer superior physical ability. It's not even skill based, you just overpower them. Next, raise your charisma to 12. You hold a commanding and powerful presence through fear and respect. Finally, your intelligence and wisdom are both 8. You don't think before you act, you aren't really educated, and you get bored easily while not making the best decisions in the middle of a fight. Now for race, we're going with Scourge Asimar. You're a celestial spirit of the next world that maintains the balance of the world, supposedly. You're just here for the fights, though. The cult gave you some fancy sword, but you don't bother listening to its words for a very long time. Scourge Asmar gain plus 2 charisma for a new total of 14 and plus 1 charisma for a new total of 16. They also gain 60 feet of dark vision and resistance to necrotic and radiant damage. You also gain the Healing Hands feature, allowing you to use your action to heal a target, or yourself, an amount of hit points equal to your level, and the Light Bearer ability, allowing you to cast the light cantrip at will to make your sword glow. You're also able to read and speak the celestial tongue. Finally, you are able to unleash the natural, overwhelming raw power you've had for as long as you can remember, shrouding yourself in searing radiant light when your power is unleashed, or your eye patch seal is removed. This is represented by your radiant consumption ability. For the next minute, you shed bright light and deal disgusting amounts of damage, adding your level to the damage roll of your first attack to hit, and on the end of every turn, you and any creature within 10 feet of you suffer radiant damage instantly. This adds up rapidly once you start rising in levels. Now for background. You were raised in the slums of a grand city, forced to fight and hunt for your food and water just to survive, constantly fighting with fist and blade until it slowly became one of the few things in your life that you could enjoy. You were good at it, even when you weren't very good at anything else, learning to fight on your own and ignoring the bodies of the dead that began to pile around you. With this simple and to the point background for once, we're going with a variant Outlander. Take proficiency in survival and perception. You're not a fan of hide and seek, but you're not terrible at it after all. You also gain 2 languages. Take Undercommon and Abyssal, as you learn to understand the masked beasts and spirits that lived within the forestry you once called home. You also gain the Wanderer feature, allowing you to know the layout, ironically, of most locations around you in the wilds. But you do get a bit uncertain in urban areas. You're also able to hunt and gather food for you and your party without issue. Now for class, we're going with Barbarian. Barbarians gain a d12 hit die and proficiency in light and medium armor, shields, simple, and martial weapons. Along with this, you gain proficiency in strength and constitution saving throws, with athletics and intimidation for your skills. This will help represent your hardy physique and terrifying presence. You also gain the ability to rage, making you a devastating force on the battlefield as you fall into the joy of bloodlust and combat, pairing well with your unarmored defense to represent your incredibly durable body and feral reflexes. Second level barbarians gain reckless attack, allowing you to throw risk to yourself to the wind and unleash a devastating series of attacks all at once. You also acquire danger sense, allowing you to gain advantage on dexterity saves to effects that you can see. Your reflexes are often compared to that of a beast instead of a man, after all. Third level barbarians gain a primal path. Take the path of the Zealot, representing the raw divine energy you wield and the fanatical love for battle that you hold so dear. This grants you Divine Fury, causing the first attack you hit to deal an additional 1d6, plus half your Barbarian level in radiant damage. This shows your tremendous raw power you unleash on your enemies at will. As well, you become a warrior of the gods, making you far easier to raise from the dead, partially because you're technically dead already. 4th level Barbarians gain an ability score improvement. Get a simple +2 to strength for a total of 16. Moving on to 5th level Barbarians, you gain an extra attack and fast movement, granting you an additional 10 feet of movement for a total of 40 now, when you're not wearing heavy armor. Not really an issue for you. You may not really use Flash Step, but you don't need it with how fast you are naturally. 6th level Zealot Barbarians gain Fanatical Focus, allowing you to reroll a failed saving throw once per rage. It's impossible to put you down when your spiritual pressure defends you from damage or effects. 7th level Barbarians gain Feral Instinct, granting you advantage on initiative rolls and causing you to act normally even when surprised, as long as you rage before all else. Surprising someone with the instincts of a predatory animal is far easier said than done. 8th level Barbarians gain an ability score improvement. Take another +2 to your strength for 18 total. Your raw power is slowly reaching the point of that ridiculous feat that you can manage. 9th level Barbarians gain Brutal Critical, causing your critical hits to deal even more devastating damage to the targets you hit at crucial moments, or when you flex and swing a sword at the building and cut it in half. 10th level Zealot Barbarians gain Zealous Presence, allowing you to let out a cackling battle cry and encourage yourself and all around you within 60 feet to gain advantage on attack rolls and saving throws until the end of your next turn. 11th level Barbarians gain Relentless Rage, allowing you to continue fighting even after you've hit 0 hit points, as long as you can continue passing an increasingly difficult Constitution saving throw. 12th level Barbarians gain another ability score improvement. Take another +2 to your strength and finally cap out your strength at 20, for the ridiculous raw power you casually wield to send enemies flying with a one-handed swing. 13th level Barbarians gain an additional Brutal Critical die, amplifying the raw damage of the weapon even further on a critical hit. 14th level Zealot Barbarians gain Rage Beyond Death, allowing you to not fall even if you hit 0 hit points, as long as you're raging. After your rage ends, however, if you failed your normal death saving throws, you will still die as per normal. But this finally represents that real inhuman ability to keep fighting no matter how much damage you sustain. The fight matters far more. Unless someone comes along with plot armor anyway. 15th level Barbarians gain Persistent Rage, allowing you to never stop raging unless you fall unconscious or purposely deactivate your rage. You officially just never fall now. 16th level Barbarians gain an ability score improvement. Take +2 Constitution for a new total of 18 to begin enhancing that con save that's so important and increase your hit points that much more. 17th level Barbarians gain yet another Brutal Critical die. Brutal Critical. I think I say this in every single one of these builds, and I'm keeping it in this time too. 18th level Barbarians gain Indomitable Might. Anytime you roll a strength check less than your total strength score, you are able to take your strength score instead as the new total. So use this to chuck a building at a giant centipede monster with one hand. 19th level Barbarians gain their final ability score improvement for a final +2 Constitution, now totaling at a base 20 as well. Your sturdiness is truly terrifying. Finally, our capstone of level 20 Barbarian grants Primal Champion, raising out con and strength both to 24 total, making you officially nearly as strong as a fire giant and even more durable. Now that we've reached our cap, how strong is Kenny Boy? First, you are consistently hitting like a truck. 1 turn setup to activate Radiant Consumption, bonus action to rage, and 40 movement to get into the enemy's faces, with every attack now suddenly having a chance to deal 50 damage on average, and another 10 damage instantly at the end of your turn to anything in 10 feet of you. Not to mention the fact that you still have a second hit that, though it doesn't deal quite as much on average, still hits like a truck. With both attacks hitting, you're averaging 77 damage per turn with your aura damage. If you crit, it's pretty much all over with the amount of damage that you can potentially dish out. Next, you have basically infinite hit points. You don't go down. And if you do finally go down by a power word kill or a sleep spell when you're at low hit points, you are incredibly painless for your party to just raise back again with no material components. Finally, your intimidation skill and physical skill are both impressive, allowing you some limited options during roleplay. Now, for weaknesses, well, your saving throws are a good start. It's true, in a straight up fight, you're basically unkillable. But if it isn't strength or constitution based, you're pretty much destined to fail the saving throws for many powerful, nasty effects, including mind control and charm especially. Pretty unfortunate when the big gun of the party gets turned on them from one spell of the big bad. Second, you're pretty much only good for one thing: fighting and physical actions. You have some intimidation, but that's rarely the first choice for most social encounters. To top it off, you're lacking in terms of any utility magic, skill options, and roleplay checks as a whole, really. Finally, lacking proper mobility and range options in battle is a serious hindrance. Ask any barbarian that has had to fight a dragon the moment it takes off. It is a nightmare. As such, breaking character and getting some javelins or something wouldn't be a terrible idea, because as it stands, if something flies, has over 40 movement, has reach, or spells for mobility, you're never going to get the chance to hit the target. It doesn't matter how hard you may hit if you can't even attack in the first place. But what you're here for isn't the fancy things. Rely on your party for the mobility and to protect you from mind-altering effects. Charge in, unleash your devastating damage, soak up the damage they would normally take, and be a glowing yellow terror on the battlefield. Just don't get too excited. Eventually you're going to meet your match, and maybe you'll have to actually ask for some help from an inner voice instead. As always, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please drop it a like, subscribe for more, hit the little bell, and please leave a comment on anything you liked about the build or what video you'd like to see next. I do videos on Dungeons & Dragons as well as my own world once to twice a week. I'd like to thank all my patrons, but especially my two platinum patrons, Crom and SPS. Your donations mean the world to me. If you'd like to join them, there's a link in the description below to my Patreon. Patrons get to vote on the videos that I do and have access to various variant rules, homebrew supplement systems, items, spells, and so forth that are there. You can also talk with my community in Discord to learn about my D&D supplements and illiterate roleplay board I run for my world. Have an amazing day, everyone. Be safe, love each other. Goodbye.